this will be our first video lesson for ITC112 entitled Fundamentals of Programming, and let's get started. Topics will be definition of program, computer programming, computer programmer, generations of programming language, types of programming language. Okay, let's get started with computer program. A program is a set of instructions following the rules of a chosen language. Without program, computers are useless. So as we also know, computer programs are also referred to as software. A program is like a recipe. It contains a list of ingredients called variables and a list of directions called statements that tells the computer what to do with the variables. So, sa atong mga next video tutorial or lessons, mahibala na nato unsa na si variables, unsa na si statement. But for now, let's just focus on the idea of ingredients is called variables and the directions called statement. And program is software. So computer, kabalo naman ta is tangible man ang computer, so it is a hardware or hardware siya. Software is dili nimo siya magunitan, and that is sulod siya. So sila always silang kauban. Useless ang si hardware kung wala si software, and useless si software kung wala si hardware. So a vocabulary and set of grammatical rules, syntax for instructing a computer to perform a specific task. So in every programming language na siya common syntax, ang tanan na siya common syntax, but naagid siya iyahag yung kagulingong syntax in every programming language. Programming language can be used to create computer programs. The term programming language usually refer to high-level language such as BASIC, C, C++, COBOL, Fortran, Ada, and Pascal. So si BASIC lahi ang iyang syntax, si C lahi po, si C++, si COBOL, and other programming high-level language. And pero always remember nga sila tanan naa sila variables, naa sila statement, mo na ilahang let's say naging common. You eventually need to convert a program into machine language so that the computer can understand it. There are two ways to do this: compile the program, interpret the program. So it is very understandable. Si compile means iyahang buuhon, or ganun, siya magbasa. Si interpret, kuntahay lang, we are writing a English word, English nga essay. Then siya ang compile, siya magbasa. Si interpret, para masabtan ni computer, si computer dili kasabot og English, siya ang mag-translate ato into Bisaya. Kuntahay si computer makasabot ang iyang masabtan nga language is Bisaya. So si interpret, siya ang mag-interpret sa English into Bisaya. So always na silang kauban duha. Compile is to transform a program written in a high-level programming language from source code into object code. This can be done by using a tool called compiler. Usually tawag niya is run, run, mga siyang mga compiler ang tawag. Run, debug, build, compiler na siya. A compiler reads the whole source code and translate it into a complete machine code program to perform the required task, which is the output as a new file. So usually pag imo ni siyang sa isa ka programming language, programming software, naa siya mogawas nga new file, may balaan nimo dito if nag-work ang imong code or wala, na ay error or wala. Interpreter is a program that executes instruction written in a high-level language. An interpreter reads the source code, one instruction or line at a time, converts this line into machine codes and executes it. Computer programming is the process of writing, testing, debugging, troubleshooting, and maintaining the source code of a computer programs, also referred to as coding. So, usually pag magbuhat na kag program, dili na kami ng computer programming imong gibuhat, you're doing is you're coding. Tanan basta unsa nga language, basta you are writing a code, ang tawag na is coding. This source code is written in a programming language like C++, Java, Perl, and etc. A programmer is someone who writes computer program. Computer programmers write, test, and maintain program or software that tells the computer what to do. So, if ever, it's not if ever kasi one of these days maghimo mo og inyong kagulingon nga program, and you will be called programmers, aspirant programmers. So may bala na to dire. Sa next slide is skills. What skills are required to become a programmer? Deductive reasoning, the ability to apply general rules to specific problem, to come up with logical answers. It involves deciding if an answer makes sense. So always jud dapat ang pinaka main jud aning if ever you wanted to be a programmer someday, but sa karon you will be learning about programming. The basic skill is reasoning. If tama akong answer, else mga ganon, nasa yung mga scenario na pa mas complicated, and you need an information organization, finding ways to structure or classify multiple pieces of information. So sa ninani siya nga skills mo ni siya ang isa sa mingon taog pinaka the best if ever you wanted to be a programmer, kasi you're going to start from the scratch. Gikan lang ka sa imuhang tugmo-tugmo ang ani mong gusto buhaton, ani mong gusto nga output and everything. So if ever na ka ninana nga mindset, ninana nga skills, and welcome to the programming club mga ninana. Okay, let's proceed to generation of programming language. The first generation language, or 1GL or generation language, are low-level programming that are machine language. So, okay, as we all know, machine language consists of two digital number, which is 0 and 1. The second generation language, or the 2GL, are also low-level language that generally consists of assembly language. So, as wala gyud saan siya machine language or the low-level language, ang kining duha siya nga generation, dili kay siya ingon nga kayang i-code sa tao. It is not very this is not something ma-understand siya sa tao dayon, and we will be learning about it in the next slide. The third generation language, or the 3GL, are high-level language such as C. The fourth generation language is 4JL are languages that consist of statement. Similar to statements in a human language, the fourth generation language are commonly used in database programming and scripts. Okay, na ako'y siguro example ani diri sa akong laptop, and tanaw na to database. So ana siya database daw. Usually pag mag-ingon tag database, ang ginagamit diri ang ginagamit ito is MySQL. So try na to login. Okay, mangita ta diri. Okay. So mo ni yang code para magawas ni siya. Na atay code diri mo ni siya ang gipasabot sa fourth generation language commonly used in database. So understandable kay siya kay select from ani nga pangalan nga padulong ani nga table ana lang siya. Okay, let's continue. The fifth generation language, or the 5JL, are programming language that contains visual tools to help develop a program. A good example of a fifth generation language is Visual Basic. So napod tayo example ni a Visual Basic. Visual Studio. So mostly ang ginagamitan ng sa Visual Studio is a desktop application or pwede na po sa web application. Depende sa imo ha. Pero kini siya ang pinaka versatile or common ginagamit diri sa IT industry. So kung tayo project mo ni siya ang Visual Basic. Okay, web application. Nag-loading pa siya. So ani usually ang GUI or the Geographical User Interface kung Visual Studio atong gamiton, pero okay mo ani siya. Unsa tingin niya? The fifth generation language, or the 5GL, are programming language that contains visual tools to help develop a program. A good example is Visual Basic. So Visual Basic pwede ra po siya sa C++, ASP.NET. Okay, dirita sa Solution Explorer dara si Toolbox. Sa Toolbox dara day. Okay, dara tantahay si TXT. Drag and drop lang. Okay, tapos may tag button. So dali lang kaayo. Hindi na ka mangin-ani. Kung duhaon na nimo, Control C, Control V lang ka. Ano kay button 1 o button 2. Tapos, kung gusto nito siya basahon, start. Niyari iyang naong. Pero pwede pa ninyo na siya panindutan, and this is just an example. Nagan pa kani siya, pwede may tabo sa iyo, or gusto niyo buhaton, pwede niyo siya change name, narade sa kilid. Dili kini ako itudlo sa inyo, this will be just an example. Okay, ninana siya ang pasabot sa 5GL, 5 generation programming language. So ninana iyang meaning, or ninana iyang yan ang iyang interface. Usually this is a desktop application. Okay, let's proceed sa next. Types of programming language. So dari na tatong duha ka low level, the machine language o assembly language, o si high level. Low level language are closer to the language used by a computer, while high level language are closer to human language. So mo na niya akong gingon nga kining duha ka language dili ni siya kaya siyang i-code sa tao, pero dili yun siya ingon nga kaya na to siyang paspasan. Kaya usually this is mga first programmer nin ani ilahang ginagamit punch card pag ilang gamit sa una. Okay, machine language is a collection of binary digits or bits that the computer reads and interprets. machine languages are the only language understood by computer. So always remember nga ang maintindihan or masabtan lang yun sa computer is machine language. While easily understood by computer, machine language are almost impossible for human to use because they consist entirely of numbers. So, ang mabasa sa computer is machine language lang, which is 0 and 1. So, for example, ninani, so si hardware na ay software dre mauni siya ang code or binary nga iya para makuha ang ninani nga kuan, ninani ihang basahon nga mga numbers. Katay kini nga picture ninani iyang ang digits sa iyang binary para masabtan ni computer nga ay mao din siya si ang dear de ini ana. Another example is A. Kung tahay si A, ang A is 65. So ninani lang siya. Ninani iyang consist of language number or binary. Si 10000010. So we will be learning, mga hibal-a lang yapon ninyo kung unsaon ni siya pag-convert or unsaon ni siya pagkuha. Ninani siya ninani ang iyang mga values or ninani iyang way para masabtan si binary. Na siya times 2 diri ali na I'm not really sure kung unsaon ni siya pag-determine, pero ninani lang siya. Si 2 ni si 2 times 2 4 times 4 2 times 2 times 2 4 2 times 2 plus 2 something ana 2 times basta 2 times na siya tanan. I'm not really good at math, pero ninana ang ni siya 1 kini siya ang value niya is 1. So ang mga na-value lang is si 1. Ang 0 kay wala siya value. So ang mong i-add is kini lang si mga ones. Ang 0 is wala. Okay, sabag na ako nakuha si 1 times 2 is 1. 1 times 1 anata 2 times 2 2 times 1 2 times 3 1 2 3 and 4 na basta na siya value of binary digits and determine the value ana na siya pag-determine. So ninani kung untahay if ever you are really interested or kung unsa gid ang mga values nga ginabasa ni machine language, so si stop ninani daw ang iyang binary digits. Kung si rotate bristles left nani daw iyang binary nga basahon. Kung rotate bristles right, nani sad go back to start of a program, nani mo ang ipang write nga code. Skip next instruction if switch is off. So ninani ang iyang basahon. Example lang ni siya. Okay, let's proceed to assembly language. A program written in an assembly language consists of series of instruction mnemonics that correspond to a stream executable instruction when translated by an assembler that can be loaded into a memory and executed. Assembly language use keywords or symbols much like English to form a programming language, but at the same time introduce to a new problem. The problem is that the computer doesn't understand assembly code, so we need a way to convert it into machine code. So as we all know, or as I have discussed earlier, na ang masabtan lang yun sa computer is machine language. So machine codes katong 0 ug 1, og si assembly language dili niya kayang basahon. Assembly language programs are translated into machine language by a program called an assembler. A program is copied from secondary storage to main memory. So let's say for instance disk drive daw ni siya dire kini unya ang disk drive mo na iyang value ng imong input sa main memory mo ni nga digital binary digits. The CPU executes the program in main memory. So kini siya maoro ni iyang basahon. Diri niya i-execute so si input process output. Okay, dara. Si fetch the next instruction in the program. So paon niya and so forth nani ang mga nani iyang language or nani nga term ang ihang ibuhaton. Tapos i-convert pa jud niya padulong sa CPU, decode the instruction to determine which operation to perform. So asa si stop dire, asa si go back to kuan dire na mga nana. So very difficult basin ako di ko kasabot og unsaon ni siya pag pagkuha or pag program execute instruction. So this will be example for low level programming language. Dara ani di ay move ani di siya and so forth. Add an assembler, translate an assembly language program to a machine language. So ani iyang code move EAX Z add ani na siya mga English language po di ay and so forth. So si assembler siya itong mag-convert into machine language, si input process si output. Okay, the next is high level language. High level language allows us to write computer code using instruction resembling everyday spoken language. For example, print, if, while, which are then translated into machine language to be executed. So expect na ninyo if you're going to practice coding or gusto na jud mo mahimong programmer o gusto mo mahimong programmer na agud siya mga print, if, while, sa paman select, into, mga ana daghan siya. So very understandable pud ang ilang meaning sa functions. They are called functions. Programs written in a high-level language needs to be translated into machine language before they can be executed. Some programming language use a compiler to perform this translation and other use an interpreter. So usually na adyo compiler ang isa ka programming language o isa ka software nga ginaran is na adyo siya compiler na po siya interpreter. Okay, so ani siya ang iyahang idea. Example, the compiler is used to translate a high-level language program to a machine language program, high-level programming. So kini si print, hello, earthling, and so forth. So ani nga program. So si compiler, iparan mo basahon niya siya, i-interpret niya into machine language so that the computer can understand. The machine language program can execute at any time without using a compiler. So pag mahibal-an na niya nga aning machine language, ani siya nga set of codes, mo diretso na siya og compile padulong sa CPU. So that's why the program works. High level language, so nanay iyang theme. Machine language, i-interpret niya into machine language. So, sulod siya sa CPU. So, ang mugawas kay hello earthling. Nani si hello print, hello earthling. Nana, an interpreter translate each high-level instruction to its equivalent machine language instructions and immediately executes them. This process is repeated for each high-level instruction. So, nana lang siya ka. Niana lang iyahang mga niana ang iyahang process para mahibal-an na to kung mag-code ta, so this is the code, niani ang code. Pag i-compile na to siya or interpret, usually it is called run, debug, build, nasa dira. And for Java na magamit ta og Intel IDEA 2020-21. next lesson na nako ni siya i-discuss kay wala pa ko yung SDK ani. Okay, so examples of high level language. So ADA, wala ko kabalo kung wala pa ko kagamit aning ADA. Si C, nakagamit ko gamay lang. Si C++, so mao ni siya si favorite nato karon. Si C++, si Java, si Basic, yes, Basic ni siya, nakakuan ko ani, si Cobol na nato sa familiar. Si Pascal, Python, JavaScript, Ruby, Visual Basic, ASP.NET. So naa ko yung mga example diri karon sa Hello World. So ninani iyang syntax sa Java. So for Java na say class, hello world, public static void main. And I will be discussing unsay ning public static, unsay ning void, unsay ning main. Si system out, print line, and I will be discussing the next lesson. So ninani lang iyang coding. Si C++, #include. Mo ni hang library. So mo ni yang statement. Si Visual Basic.NET, Visual Basic.NET, BB.NET. Si Bash, si C Sharp, so mo ni pinakapaborito na ako, si C Sharp, si CoffeeScript, si JavaScript, kini sa nice kining JavaScript gamiton for web designing, si jQuery, of course. Si Julia, I'm not very familiar about Julia, pero murag sayon naman ni siya. MATLAB. So MATLAB is mostly common sa mga live nga program. Object-C, Pascal, Perl 5, R, Ruby, VBScript. Okay, daghan tag VBScript. Hello. Message box, hello world. Okay, siya si Swift. PHP is one of the best language then. Python. Okay, that would be all. So our next topic is to create an organized plan or methods in solving a problem, keyword operations and syntax and overview. So that will be all. So prepare for quiz, and that will be all. Thank you so much.